2, 1. Boom. You get me. Man's not hot.
Man's not hot. I'll tell you a man that is hot, our fucking guest today.
He's in.
The man who has been affectionately known as Russell Crowe if he was stung by a swarm of bees.
I love that.
Please, he's also known as the Thumb. Please put your hands together, ladies and gentlemen, for our guest tonight, Mr. Henry Wilson.
Hey guys.
Good to have you here, man.
All right, thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming on. It's been a long time coming. You fucked us around the first attempt, but you got COVID last week and almost fucked around the second attempt. But we got you here. We got you here tonight.
Managed here to just get here and 10 minutes late, so.
It's all right. 10 minutes, 10 hours. What's the difference?
Yeah, that's right. You know, 10 weeks and
10 weeks. 10 weeks. Yeah.
At least you made it. That's the main thing. Yeah. Well, look, it's good to have you on, man. Obviously, we've known each other for a few years now through the Adelaide comedy scene. How long have you actually been doing comedy for?
Yeah, good question. About 5 or 6 years, but I reckon really in the last couple of years, I've really been giving it a good crack. You know, Like I started out back in 2014. I remember my first gig. I had a really good gig, the first gig, and I had like all my mates from uni come and watch. And I was like really, really energized after it. I was like, fuck, you know, this is what I really want to do. Like just for fun. And then I did my second gig and I absolutely bombed. I did so badly.
Yeah.
And I just felt like, oh my God, I do not want to keep doing this. But then I just sort of stuck around the scene, just not really doing a bit and stuff. And then I think in the last few years, like in the last couple or so years, I've been really trying to make it more consistent and trying to get up as much as I can and try and come up with new material, which was often hard for me. Like I'm sort of so stuck to just doing the same set kind of.
Yeah.
But I love it. It's a great community. It's really helped me a lot.
But tell you what, man, like I'm no comedian by any stretch of the word, but my God, I wouldn't be able to write continuous jokes. Like, I reckon every time I go see him, there's at least a couple of new jokes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and it's just...
well, that's the thing. When I started, the mistake I made was that I wrote new shit every time because, like, I didn't want mates to have to see the same stuff. But I wasn't getting anywhere with comedy because I could never see what shit actually... Because, you can tell the first time you ever do shit, you can see if it's kind of gonna work. Yeah. But you have to do it and change it up 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 times before... You're like, that's the money. Now I know I can do it every time and it works. So I just wasn't doing the same jokes again. I was just always doing something new and then wondering why I just felt like I wasn't really getting anywhere because, you know, again, it's brand new shit. So 80% of it fucking bombs and then or just doesn't do well enough for me to keep it around. And then I just throw it all in the bin and write another one the next time. So it wasn't until, for me probably as well, not long after you started, I started like actually putting sets together with a little bit of what I'd done before with some new stuff. And then all of a sudden I was like, oh shit, this is how you're supposed to actually fucking do it.
Yeah, it makes it sustainable that way. Because if you're struggling to write new shit and then the new shit you are writing is bombing, you're just like gonna get fucking disheartened.
Yeah, absolutely. So what drove you to actually get up and do it the first ever time? Where'd that come from?
I had a lot of mates say to me that like, oh, you know, maybe you should give it a go.
Yeah.
Like I used to do, I used to make stupid speeches at school and stuff. Like I did a lot of debating at school, and I also did a lot of acting, like a lot of drama.
So what kind of debating were we doing in school?
Master debating.
It was mainly. It was just versus like other schools. I went to Mercedes.
Okay.
And they did. It was like, you know, we used to do speeches, like, you know, we did the arguments. The other one we did debating against other schools and stuff. And the other one we did was this thing called mock trial, which was where you pretend like you're in like a courtroom kind of thing. And, and the first time I did that, because that was a part of legal studies, the first time I did that, I just couldn't help myself. I just was laughing so much because it was just so. Me and my friend wanted to do this thing where he would say, like, you know, there's that movie when they're like, you know, you want the truth?
Yeah.
You can't handle the truth.
Yeah. That's a classic
Yeah,
line,
we tried to do it. We were going to do that in the South Australian, like the actual court where we ended up not doing it, but there was just all this stuff we did. Like I just played like acted out like I was a witness in a case, and I made it like I was really bawling, like trying to cry my eyes out over just like a dog that, like a make-believe dog that had just walked around or something. But yeah. Interesting. Right. I've never heard of anyone doing debate in school. That's crazy. and mock trial, but I did a lot of debate. And then I did sort of, I think when I left school, so I went to uni, obviously, I did journalism there. And then I had a few.
Journalism.
Yeah.
Right. Interesting.
I had a few people say, like, maybe you should give it a go. And I'd been around the scene a little bit before I'd done it, like in terms of like I'd gone and watched and stuff. So
okay.
Yeah, but I love it now. It's great.
So switching gear a little bit then, touching on journalism.
Yeah.
What's your opinion then on modern journalism?
My opinion on modern journalism.
Yeah.
I just think it's developing so much. Like I think with like there's this thing called, we used to talk about it in uni called like citizen journalism. It's where basically anyone can be a journalist, so they can pick up, obviously, set up a podcast or even just set up a vlogging thing on YouTube and become pretty much someone's main source of news feed. Like, I mean, even if you look at a thing like something like Vice, they just started. I don't know how they started out exactly, but I can imagine it would have just been like just a few young guys getting around, sort of doing it. And now they've got journalists all over the world, and it's I think it's a really good platform. But and that's the other thing. Like people post like, I think social media is just really kicked it off, like in terms of like people can just write so much on like Facebook or Twitter, especially that Twitter's like more like, I guess, I don't know, but it
feels a bit more political, doesn't it?
Yeah, I feel like Twitter's more political. Like I think people listen to like, I mean, if like I were to write like a status about like, I don't know, President of the United States, like Joe, whatever his name is, Joe Biden.
Well-informed journalist.
Joe Biden or...
Bidding for the highest gas prices.
I just think I don't know. I just feel like Twitter might be a bit more political. Like, I agree.
So do you think that, I know I do, but do you think that a lot of modern journalism, though, has really devolved and gone away from what journalism should be? Yeah, I agree,
100%. Yeah. Like, people are just going nuts. Like, it's just about, and a lot of the time they can, like, I think someone who I actually think is a really good journalist is Louis Theroux. I think he's really good. Like, he's just so, he knows how to get the point across. He interviews the right people. He really, and there's lots of really good individual journalists like that. But there's also some like really good shows. Like I think shows like Insight on SBS is quite a good show.
Okay, I haven't seen that one.
Yeah, they do a bit of debating on that.
He loves the debate.
He loves the debate.
Yeah. Is that the one that Roots was on?
Yeah, it was the one that Roots was on. Yeah. Like I like Australian Story, like Four Corners. I even like 60 Minutes. Like
okay, interesting.
So I started watching it was like 60 Minutes and stuff, and I was thinking about doing media law at uni. I didn't end up doing it, so I just ended up getting into journalism. I'm media specialising in journalism, but yeah. I'm not really sure what I'm just working at Telstra now, so
Did you finish your degree?
I did, 2018. Yeah, graduated.
Wow, man,
have you ever thought about doing citizen journalism, like having a YouTube channel where you face the camera and talk about what you're thinking? Like,
I did. I have thought about it. I guess I just haven't really had the confidence to do it. And I don't really know. Like I've always thought about being a journalist, but at the same time, I don't feel like I'm knowledgeable enough. Like sometimes, like I'm not really, like I don't watch the news on TV like every night or read the paper every day in the morning. Like I did a whole bunch. I read the news on radio for like a long time.
Yeah, okay.
Radio Adelaide and stuff, but I didn't really. Do you know what I mean? Like I'm not really that fully entrapped in. But
I guess that's the thing though, is like we don't know fuck all about anything, right? And we still jump on here in front of the cameras and the mics every second week and talk about our opinion. So it's almost like, I don't know if these days you really even need to know what's like currently happening. As long as you've got your opinion and that opinion's strong enough and you can do it in an entertaining way, you're probably going to find people are going to get around it.
Yeah. You were supposed to start a podcast. You bought a microphone.
Sat in my room for a year and a half, and then I sold it.
How much did you sell it for?
Like $100 or something.
Oh,
it was
my
$3.
goodness.
I'm such an idiot. I kept telling everyone I was making this podcast.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, that was the thing.
Never happened.
That was the thing that made it so funny. Is that he made such a big fucking deal.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Fucking hell. And so then everyone was just always like, "Where's the podcast?"
Where's the
and I do like Instagram lives, and people be like, "When's the podcast coming out?" And I just be like, "Well, hasn't happened yet." So
so let's just assume it's not happening.
At this stage, yeah.
Where was your first show? Just at Rhino?
Rhino, yeah.
Was that old or new Rhino?
That was old Rhino.
So you did get to do one at the old Rhino.
Yeah, I've done did a lot of gigs there.
Yeah.
Did you do much?
Oh, that's why I started 10 years ago. So 10 years ago this year is
fucking hell.
Yeah, it's my 10
Really?
years of comedy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So for the first 5 or 6 years, I did one gig every fucking 3 months or something. Just didn't really take it seriously. It was just like a genuine hobby, which I guess it still is now. But I do, I kind of have established myself enough to have gigs kind of presented to me a bit more often.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
I got to do a lot at the old Rhino. I met Will Anderson in the fucking green room one time after a big hour show that I went to see.
Yeah.
So I loved that. That place was iconic.
It's a really good feel about it. A really good life.
Did you ever get to go to the old Rhino room?
I don't think so. I've been to like where it is now on Pirie with the downstairs and the upstairs and all that shit. But was it in the same building?
No. So it was over on Frome Road,
Closer to North Terrace.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually I did.
Yeah, you did go in there. Yeah.
Yeah, I went for a hip hop gig.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, they used to do those all the time.
And transmission and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What a cool venue that was.
That was sick.
So good. You go up those stairs and then you just got that little bar. Like, it's quite similar to the new one, but I don't know. It just had
good size.
It had a better feel.
Yeah, it had a good size to it from memory.
I liked the whole, like you had the bar area where you could be like in there talking and away from the show. Whereas like, even if you sit at the back of the new Rhino, you can hear the most whispered conversation even at the back of that room, and you can hear it. Whereas like the
Whispering
actual
walls, bro.
the divide between the two rooms at the old venue meant you could step out for a bit and have a chat, and it didn't really matter.
So mate's heckling you in the background, like leaning up against the wall in the shadows. Going
and you're like, oh, this guy fucking sucks. I'm like,
sucks.
I heard that, motherfucker. So your second show, obviously you've come back to Rhino open mic again. And you've absolutely shit the bed. Was it just because you obviously didn't have fucking 50% of the crowd on that second show, do you think?
Actually, I brought not 50% of the crowd, I still brought a few friends along, and I was like, I might as well invite some people. I thought I did okay, like the first one. And then, I opened. My opening joke was, I have no interest in a relationship because I get fucked daily by university assignments.
Yeah, nice.
So, and that went really well the first time, and then for some reason on the second gig, it just didn't get any laughs.
Yeah.
It was just...
Man, isn't that crazy, man?
Yeah.
That blows my mind that like one thing that you're hopping up and you're like, all right, that killed. I'm going to carry that over. And then the next time around, it's like a fucking crickets are like...
Oh, dude, it happens with me with Cranker all the time, man. Like, Cranker is so good to me, and then I'll do a joke, and it just rips that room in half. And then I'll do it again, and it will get like, and I'm like, that's why, as I said, you can't ever bank on... like to be a killer off the one time.
Yeah.
Like the new joke I did, which obviously I won't talk because I want to save that. But I did a new joke. I closed with a brand new joke at a show I did at Mobbery Jets because I was so confident in it. And it went so well, I got like a fucking applause break from like the punchline in the middle of it. But again, I don't know. I could do that again at a not soccer club and people just be like, that's fucking shit. So even though I'm now like hype on it because of how big that reaction was, it could be garbage.
Isn't it strange how like the audience that you're playing to almost like, it won't obviously dictate what you say, but it can dictate kind of like where you lead your jokes to.
Yeah,
that's nuts. Like coming from my world, like when I performed music, it didn't matter. It was like, it doesn't matter how many people were in the crowd. Well, obviously, the more the better, obviously. Yeah. But like, you were out there, you were performing your set, your music. It was that way. No matter what reaction you got back, you were still going to perform it. Whereas with comedy, it's kind of like you say something that you think's funny and then went where we were last time and then gets crickets, you're going to be like, fuck. You're going to second guessing yourself and you have to adapt. And it's that silence, I think, that would kill me, man.
Well, a good example of it where you notice it is when we did Next Gen 2 years ago.
Yeah, that happened.
And we just had fucking fossils.
Where's Next Gen?
That was tough. That
we got
really
picked
tough.
For through Rhino Room, they do like a Adelaides Next Generation of comics, like the up and comers.
Right.
And that was kind of when I had my breakout year because I think I went from like 20. So that was like 2018. I reckon I did maybe 3 gigs the whole year. And then 2019, I did like fucking 50.
Yeah.
Because that was around the time where I really started like actually using the formula properly.
Yeah.
And then, so then people would see me and be like, that was really fucking good. And then keep booking me for other shows. And there was like 2018, it was a kind of a good time. There was a few different rooms that were running and whatever else.
Yeah,
like, I think that was the start of Giggles, and even like Kim Lee was running the HQ there was a few
Chris
different
Myers
places.
Running shows.
I've never done one for Chris Myers. That's my claim to fame.
Yeah.
Sorry, Chris, if you're listening to this, mate, but never done one.
He's run a few interesting gigs. He tried to get one out of Hungry Jack's in Melbourne.
He's done some things and some stuff.
Yeah. Is he like a promoter or a comedian?
No, he's a promoter.
Right.
Yeah, but he's ruffled a few feathers lately.
Oh, he's out there fucking ruffling.
I probably shouldn't have brought him up.
Nah, fuck it. Who cares?
Is he like certified rustling Jimmy's, or is he not?
Nah. Just I think bit off more than he could chew.
Right.
Didn't pay a few people.
Bit of a fire festival situation.
Yeah. Like the worst, like the most like low level Adelaide fire festival situation of all time.
But I'm fucking trying to fill out the cranker.
There was a lot of gigs going on whilst I ran that time though when we were doing Next Gen and stuff.
So in the lead up to, so we did Next Gen in 2020, but it was a 6:45 slot or something like that.
It wasn't a great time.
So it was just the only people that are ready to be able to see comedy at 6:45 because they want to be in bed by 8 half fossils, dude. So like the demographic of the audience.
Yeah.
And it was like, me and Rudes, like just obviously are not the kind of people.
And Rudes, if Rudes went up there, they would have been like, what the fuck is this guy saying?
And you could tell that was how they were feeling too. So they still, some of them went all right. Like,
of course.
But it was just, it's a hard slog trying to get people. Like, again, it's, the sun's not even starting to go down at fucking 6:45.
Yeah.
So it's just it's a different audience.
And in saying that too, like we did our show like this year and last year, Boats and Bogans, which was in the Squeak, and that was at about 6. But for some reason, I don't know, maybe it was sort of a different venue or something. We tended to get like better crowds. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like it can vary.
I think at the end of the day, Garden is just a whole different. Like when you're in Gluttony, it's just different. You get people in there like earlier, whatever. So I think it was because ours was a venue outside of the Garden where like people are like, and like because it was as a part of Rhino. So people, you know what I mean? I think it was more tailored to that like old couple going and having dinner somewhere.
And then going,
bringing their like life support with them or something.
Right. People that are like, I don't go to the Garden.
So has anyone ever had the balls to do a 6:45 a.m. show?
I don't think anyone's done a fucking
wake up to comedy, boys.
Ryan did one.
Did he really?
6:45. Not at 6:45, but he did one at about 7:30 in the morning
comedy.
In Roxby.
In the Mines.
Oh, okay, that would make sense.
Every time they come off shift, he was doing a show.
Yeah.
So there's like the 12 hour. So it's like 6 o'clock and 6 o'clock or something like that, or 7 and 7. So
that's killer.
He did the 7 a.m. show because they are all like getting on the piss when they knock off. And then he did the 7 p.m. show because they're getting on the piss when they knock off.
That's cool, man. That's cool.
I don't know if that's when he was doing his
30 gigs in 30 days.
Yeah.
As a part of that. So are you still doing anything with Radio Adelaide now?
No, I haven't been there since like 2000 because I just got caught up working in the convenience store doing night duty.
Yeah,
next to that controller.
Inconveniently caught up in the convenience store.
It was like working in as a prison pretty well.
Yeah,
it's crazy. I had to call the police all the time.
What? Which one's this?
One next to
that
controller,
one right next to
casino. And I did
okay.
12 to 7 4 nights in a row. So bad for your physical and mental health.
Yeah,
I'm glad I'm out
you
of that.
You were there for how long?
3.5 years.
Yeah, that's
I can't believe I
long.
Fucking did it way too long. Yeah.
And how much happier are you now? Like, even though it's Telstra.
We were probably in there fucking giving him grief at one point.
Yeah, probably.
You definitely sold me a packet of darts.
It's chewing gum, that's for sure.
Yeah.
On my way to HQ. Yeah. So I was like, get off the train, go to that servo, buy darts and chewies, and then walk down to HQ.
Yeah.
I mean, night duty is not good for anyone's mental health, but it's just it knocks you right. Yeah, I mean, I just didn't have the you know what it was. I just didn't have the confidence to just say, enough's enough with that kind of work. Like I really like my boss. I actually had a good boss there. I had good work people that I worked for.
Yeah.
That's basically the main reason I stayed. But
course,
I didn't have the balls to be like, hey, can we just change things up a bit? Maybe I could do some day shifts. Yeah. Anyway, now I'm at full time at Telstra.
So how long have you been at Telstra for now then? This is obviously...
Yeah, like 10 months.
Yeah, so this is obviously way better for you, man.
So much better. Yeah. It's like tomorrow I'm starting at 9:40.
Yeah.
And then, and then I finish a bit later, but I don't mind that anyway. Or I start earlier, then I finish earlier. I mean, the day shifts work for me. And I sleep really well. So
is that like business centre on?
Perry Street.
Perry Street.
Yeah.
And how far away? Like, do you walk there?
I get the scooter there. Yeah, those little beam.
Fuck yeah,
scooters.
dude! How long does it take you?
Like 5-10 minutes.
Does a quick handlebar spin and rolls into fucking
rolls into
Telstra. It's only like $4 in. So
that's sick.
That's so good.
Yeah,
man.
so it's really beneficial for me to live in the city. Like comedy's there, works there, obviously.
Yeah.
A lot of my mates around the city, like just base my life around the comedy.
You obviously don't mind the people, the traffic, the noise,
No, I don't. Yeah, I could
okay.
probably see myself even moving to somewhere like Melbourne eventually.
Yeah, no
for like
shit.
maybe comedy or something.
Yeah, you really enjoyed doing comedy over there.
I did. I won a competition there.
Yeah, I know.
Last
That's
year.
so cool.
And the guys asked me to come back. He asked me to come back for the Melbourne Comedy Festival this year.
Killer.
To open for like Limo.
Wow.
And like Dilrook, but I didn't do
right.
it.
Why didn't you?
I don't know. I didn't have enough money, and Fringe had just finished. And
Yeah.
What? They weren't gonna shout your plane tickets to Melbourne.
they were actually. They were gonna cover some of the cost, but he said next year. So, but
yeah, fair enough.
But the funny thing is, I won this competition for the first time ever they'd done this competition. Like, it was the first time that it was called at Rubber Chicken, and the downstairs part of it is kind of like Rhino at the moment, like the bar, but it's kind of a little bit worse in the fact that the bar and everyone, you can hear you talking over you. Like, it was just like a lot of places in Melbourne are like that.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, for just, not a lot, but like a fair bit.
So it's like you're doing a set and then old mate's telling his other friend about something else.
Yeah, how
and-
good the palmy is or something.
Fuck,
You know?
that would be so frustrating.
Yeah,
That would be so
and like-
Yeah, like almost like a little bit of that at the Para Hills gig I did.
Yeah.
Where like, there was that group from Australia Post.
Yeah.
And they just didn't give a fuck that there was a show on because they were
Yeah.
out for like
Flat
their
out
Christmas
fucking-
in July, whatever the fuck it was.
Yeah.
And so then, we just had to rip into them.
Even for the audience,
until
it's
they left.
frustrating though.
Yeah, it's just
Yeah.
rude.
Yeah.
I think. Like, I think some venues definitely know how to control it. Like,
Yeah.
like they'll get a good.
Well, it's hard though when
Yeah,
you
it is
like
hard.
if you've got a front bar like in these kind of shows. Well, that's their front bar as far as they're concerned.
That's where they're making
So-
money.
But like I'm not
Yeah.
even saying the venue. Like
Oh,
for some
okay.
patrons,
Yeah.
well, they haven't
Yeah.
come to be quiet. They've come to the
Yeah.
front bar. You're just putting on this show,
Yeah.
and it's a free show.
Yeah.
So they've paid no money, so they got nothing to lose.
Yeah.
I don't give a fuck if they talk over
Yeah,
the show. So I
yeah,
kind of
yeah.
like I don't hate them for that.
Yeah.
And again, like I'm the kind of person who will just lean into it. Do you know what
Oh,
I mean?
of
Like
course,
make that
yeah.
part of the
Might
fucking
as well.
set. But for
Might as well.
sometimes it's really fucking frazzling.
When it's a dedicated
That
show.
the Gaslight Tavern gig I did, which is my worst show ever.
The Gaslight Tavern.
Yeah, the one. Remember where we went there, and it was like Mickey D hosting, me, Mark Ryan, Rudes, and they had the bands on afterwards.
Oh yeah.
and
Oh
it
yeah. That was a tiny room
My
too.
worst gig I've ever
Yeah,
done.
that
was
It
really-
it was just like
Stage was tiny. People
the
talking.
thing was, it was a hybrid. It wasn't Mickey D hosting actually. That was the problem. It was one of the band guys hosting. It was Chris
right.
Franklin. So Chris Franklin was friends with the band.
Yeah.
So they put on this like half band, half comics thing, and it just didn't work
I've got a feeling you've told me about this. Yeah, go on.
all
Yeah.
of the band people didn't give a fuck about the comedy.
Yeah.
So they were just talking the whole time and with no fucks given. And so you just couldn't even get a punchline across because you're trying to drown out 10 different people talking.
But it was also
Even
a stiff crowd too. I remember it being
Yeah.
stiff. Like
Even
people
the
weren't
owner
fucking,
of the fucking bar is like having full conversations with the patrons as he's giving them drinks
Yeah.
while we're up there trying to do it. Just didn't work.
I'll tell you this story quickly. I did this gig in Melbourne. It's called. I don't know if have you done the Melbourne gigs?
No, I
It's
haven't.
this
I want to.
place called Bar 58 or Bar 50. Have you ever heard of this one?
No.
And I did the Wild. This is actually when on my second year of comedy, when I was sort of just starting out. And I went and I was like, oh, we'll just go. Lewis, do you know like Lewis Down stuff?
Yeah.
Lewis was like, yeah, you could go to this place, and a few other guys like, yeah, you could go there, but it's not that great. Then I was like in Melbourne. I was like, yeah, well, why not? Let's just go. Let's go and do it. Let's just see what it's about. And it was deplorable. It was so bad.
Fuck.
The comedic, like not only the bar stuff, but the actual like the comedy was just. It was actually sad because it was a lot of
Fuck.
homeless people getting up
Yeah.
and being
okay.
like, talking about them taking up drugs and trying to make jokes out of it. And then it was just terrible. And it ended up we had like our friend Courtney who had cerebral palsy. She was in a wheelchair.
Yeah.
And at the end of the night, this guy got on and was like, apparently he just came out of parole or something.
Fuck.
He was on parole.
Yeah.
And then he was like, let's start a bar fight to this person at the front of the bar. And we were like, me and my friend Mark, so let's get the fuck out of here.
Shit.
It was crazy. Yeah, it was absolutely insane. I've never felt that unsafe at a
Yeah,
comedy
wow.
in my ever. It was crazy.
Right. So we're just going from this full desaturated, like low key, sad mood just to full like fire in the eyes, like let's throw down fucking Irish style.
Yeah.
Like, that's
It was
crazy,
nuts.
dude.
It was
Is that the only place in Melbourne that you've been to that was like that though? No, they're all like that. They're all
they're all like that.
Yeah.
That's definitely the worst.
Yeah, okay.
There was a few other places I went to that were like a little bit sort of maybe shady.
Yeah, okay.
Maybe a few drugs are happening there. I don't know, but
yeah,
I mean that happens at most bars anyway. So
yeah,
like it didn't really like. I know that was definitely the most unsafe I felt.
Yeah, okay.
I mean, there's been I don't think in Adelaide. I've never felt like that before. No.
Yeah, I personally have never been to a comedy show that I felt unsafe at.
Yeah.
I'm sure the only one that people would talk about feeling unsafe at is fucking Alex Williamson's.
I was just about to say, I know, yeah. I wasn't you there?
Fucking glass. Nah, I was there the night after it, I reckon. He was on, and then I did, that must have been the Thursday night or something, and I was on the Friday night.
Was that on a
at
Fringe?
Rhino.
Was it?
No, it was just
Fringe?
him doing a tour, I reckon.
Yeah. That was nuts. Did you see the
I saw the
footage?
video of it, man. Yeah. He's one of those people that I've always loved, Alex Williamson. Like his videos have been hilarious and shit.
Yeah.
But then I went and saw him at the Arca and time.
Yeah.
And I was just like, he is fizzled out, man.
Yeah, he's just
he was
himself,
fried, bro.
Yeah.
Like, and I was like, fuck, that's sad because like he's hilarious.
Yeah.
This one, maybe it was just an off night. Maybe it was, but like I was like, fuck.
To be honest, I actually haven't seen any of his real stand-up. I just watched his videos.
All his videos,
Yeah.
His
videos are funny as
he
well.
even did like this shit like right back in the thing where he did like Dream Team videos, and I'm like a massive like, and he used to get footy players and just do cooked videos with the footy players.
Yeah, okay.
And that's what got me into him, dude.
Yeah.
Some of them were like so hilarious. There's like one where he's got like Kurt Tippett, the old like Crows player.
Yeah.
And he's like sends him out past the 50.
Yeah.
And he turns to the camera and he's like, I tell you what, if he slots this, I'll root that fat Rachel Bird from the pub.
Yeah.
Right? And he like dobs it, and you just see him go, she's so fat. That's the end of the video. Like, it's just so good.
The
man.
loosest Aussie bloke is what got me into his comedy.
same.
Like,
Yeah.
Where he's like at the end there with the very first video, like there's that kid laying on the floor with all the blood, and he's like, "Fuck, that's actually pretty loose, eh?"
That's so good.
Bro, I fucking
He was
love
great,
it.
man. He even did the other thing that like was iconic that he did at the beginning was like, you know how that Ben Cousins DVD came out?
Yeah.
It was all about,
Oh, yeah,
then he did the
yeah.
outtakes and
Yeah.
like
that would be
got
great,
even
yeah.
like lookalikes of other West Coast players and like did this full like it was the outtakes of those videos.
Yeah.
And he just fucking did it so well. But
I
it's
think-
unfortunate, man.
I think
because he's
number
so
one-
talented and funny, but
Yeah.
He's
drugs-
come into my convenience store.
Did he?
Yeah, a few times because he knew some of the like kids. I don't know if you knew the kids, but
Yeah.
the people that we went to Fat Controller, he used to come in a couple of times.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, wow.
I've met him
Yeah.
a couple of times actually. I actually got a
I've met
photo
him
with him.
once.
Yeah, I've been
You know
once
where I
too.
met him of all places?
Where?
Parkway Drive show.
Oh, killer!
Oh,
He's a
really?
big
Yeah,
metalhead. So
Oh,
and I
true.
met him and that
Where's
he
he
was
from
killing
in
it to me.
Adelaide? Do you know?
He's
Don't
from
know whereabouts
he's from
he's
down
from.
south, like
Yeah.
towards Victor Harbour somewhere. I don't know exactly where,
yeah.
but down south somewhere.
Yeah.
Man, his video where he talks about the Cow Downey Community Fair, he's like, "Welcome to the
yeah.
Cow Downey Community Fair." I fucking
thing is
love that
so
video.
good, man. So good.
Winner gets a free funeral and a Game
Game
Boy,
Boy
Color.
All right, so let's get serious for a second here, Henrita. You obviously when I met you, which would have gone at least 3 or 4 years ago now. You were a fucking mess of a human. You were absolutely fucking blind every time I saw you. Always good to me. You never, but you were nothing short of absolutely pissed.
Yeah.
And I know that ended up leading you to take a year off alcohol, but we won't get to, I guess, talk us through first of all, like that. Was that when you were just studying and when you were going out to comedy, you were just writing yourself off all the time? Like, I guess talk us through that chapter and then we'll get into obviously you then, kind of having a bit of that intervention of Adelaide comedy and then taking a year off the piss.
Yeah. I guess I knew I had a problem ever since I was like, I reckon even before I was like started, like probably like around 15 to 16 when I started out drinking, like I just knew like alcohol just sort of soothed me. And then I just it got worse and worse. Like I started out like obviously just on weekends and I never ended up I was never a morning drinker or a like even an everyday drinker or anything, but it was just like on the weekends I would just go full throttle. Like, like I reckon I got kicked out of, I had a 6-month ban from the Rosemont, kicked out of like most places in the CBD. I was even thinking it on the way here, or actually just, and I was talking to my friend. I don't know how I genuinely got out of like 2012 alive, really, to be honest.
Yeah, interesting.
I just like my mental health was so bad.
And your physical health too, drinking that much alcohol.
Yeah. And my physical health, And I wasn't playing footy. I wasn't training hard. I'd lost all my interest in footy. And obviously training and stuff. Like I didn't go running or anything like that. Like I'd been doing a lot lately. But I was really passionate about my footy. I just lost my interest in footy completely. I became addicted to it. Yeah. Like, if I'm honest. I was completely addicted to it. Like I guess I often had trouble, like I fell out with a lot of mates, and that led me being severely depressed and like really anxious and everything like that. And I still take medication to this day, like, and I have for years. But I also know how unwell I was. On my 21st birthday, I woke up in a full-blown panic attack after having a big night drinking, and I saw a whole bunch of people I didn't want to see, and I was really unwell. I was pretty well suicidal, to be honest. I was very suicidal. And I was.
So what year is that? Your 21st birthday?
2014, yeah.
Right. So I guess let's just rewind it quickly. You said 2012. You were lucky to make it out of that year alive. So that's 2 years before this moment.
Yeah.
What is it, if you're to look back at that now? What is the catalyst for, like, what was the reason that 2012 was so bad? Is there anything that you can pinpoint as why you were?
Yeah, I do. Yeah. Sorry.
No, I was just going to say, what was it that kind of, that now that you look back and can go, if I'm trying to understand the history and what led me to that point, what made 2012 so bad?
Oh, mate. I'll get emotional talking about it, but I just...
Yeah, sorry.
No, don't be. That's why I said I'd come on and talk about it. So I just fell out with a whole bunch of mates from school. I did a whole bunch of dumb stuff. I blamed so much of my problems on other people, I really said, it's your fault. I didn't really say it's your fault. I'm not happy or anything. I was just a mess, and I was barely holding a job down, and looking back on it now, I'd be shitting myself to say that I didn't have a problem with alcohol back then. It was just like constant seeing my psych each week. And she would be like, and I found it really hard. I think for me, a big thing, I'm such an emotional person. I'm so sensitive to things. And even with stuff at work, if someone says something bad, like today, I just hung up on them. But if I have a relationship that ends, it takes me a long time for me to let that love go.
Of course, yeah.
I'm really, and that's I've lost so many friends, and my trying to let that love go and stuff has been a really hard thing for me.
Yeah.
And I think I fell out with a really close friend of mine that year, just around that year, and my mental state was really unwell. Yeah.
I can resonate with that so much. I don't even know if I've really talked about this too much on the pod, but when my worst chapter of my life in terms of the abuse that I was doing to myself with alcohol and drugs was after a breakup as well. It was something where the relationship that I was in was really traumatic in itself, just because of everything that person had been through. And I was kind of then living through her traumas. Yeah. And then when that ended abruptly, she just ended up, getting back with her ex while she was living with me. And it just, I was someone who had gone through a lot with bullying and stuff like that through primary school and high school. Yeah. But then by the time we got in this relationship, I was the kind of person that you see now, just full of confidence, fucking completely in charge of his life kind of person. And then by the end of that relationship, when it all went to shit, it just shattered every bit of confidence and every, idea of myself that I'd had up until that point was just gone. And I really lost complete sight of myself. And same thing, man. I was just annihilating myself every weekend. And it took me nearly 3 years. From 2011 to 2014, 2015, around the time we met, and just to kind of build myself back up again. So
it takes so much time, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that either. People people put this sort of, and I just remember like I would cry so much, like every day, like just be in tears of just wanting to fix something that couldn't be fixed and wanting to be around people that didn't want to be around me. And it, like you said, like it's just that, like it does take a lot of time for stuff to heal. Like I've really learned that, like after, and you know, and I've made like mistakes and stuff as well. Like I stuffed up a lot, but yeah, it's just I don't think there's a problem with, you know, accepting that you're unwell and give yourself time to recover, because like any sort of struggle we have in life, I think, even if it's not a full-blown mental illness, it's just, you know, I think everything takes time to develop. And,
definitely, man. So what was the thing that really made you go, all right, now I understand I've got a problem, I need to make change? What was that catalyst?
Well, because like just to jump in there quickly, obviously you said 2012 you nearly didn't make it out alive. You've said your 21st birthday, which was another 2 years later, is only 2014. Now you're 1 year from alcohol, like free from alcohol was only a couple of years ago. So you've got there's a big chunk of time there where you're obviously still kind of like lost in that thing. So you're saying how old are you now?
28.
So you're 28. So you're saying 16. So there's nearly a decade of your life that's just been in that kind of where alcohol has just like played a massive part in your kind of like self-destruction. Is that really what you would put it down to?
Yeah, I mean, I would like, I would say alcohol is a big problem. I had other problems just with like, sort of, I get, that the isolation and stuff was a big thing for me, and like losing all my mates, really, to be honest.
Yeah. And that just kind of led into all of that shit.
Yeah, I went from like, it just kept getting worse. Like, and I was on so many different medications. You know, I got prescribed Xanax, and that stuff's so addictive. Like, I was given that because I was really unwell. Like, I was full on suicide. I went to to the GP. I wanted to be locked up in like Glenside or just some form of mental institution so I could be safe there, you know. But they didn't put me there. They just gave me Xanax, and I woke up the next morning feeling fine. Yeah, okay. Because I had Zoloft. They gave me Zoloft before that, and it's just and like mental health. Just people don't understand how hard it is to live with it until you've actually suffered from it yourself. We hear that a lot. But it's true, you know.
No, fucking oath.
You know, like we don't really, you know, until you've actually been there yourself, you really can't resonate with someone. And I've been trying to do other things, like I come on, like I'll speak openly about it on radio or on a podcast like this, or even on my Facebook statuses and stuff. I'll make sure I check up on my mates, make sure they're doing okay. I'm really active in that. Like, and that's the other thing that I think from like after 2014 up until like 2018, or, you know, a bit after that, now I've actually been able to provide service to others. Yeah. You know, and I didn't have that before, you know, like it was all about me, all my emotions drained me, my mental health, you know, everything was all about me, because that's what happens when you have depression. You just, all you think about is yourself. And don't get me wrong, I still have my bad days. Like, I still.
But that, what you just said though, right, is such an important thing, because if you're looking for ways to kind of validate yourself in those bad moments, when you can look at the good that you've done over the last few years, when you've been more aware and more perceptive and more understanding of yourself and your own journey, then you get to use that for yourself and go, well, hold on a second. You know, look at what you've been able to achieve despite this struggle. You know, look at your year off, look at your running, look at the friends you've made through these various different things. That's all way better than where you were at this time, at these other points that you mentioned. So you've now got that concrete foundation of like, who am I today, Henry? Is easier for you to measure and find things to cling to go, hey, well, I'm clearly on a better path than what I was on before. in those times where you said, you know, I'm so isolated, I'm blaming myself, but I'm also blaming everyone else and all of those kinds of things. So I guess let's talk about the lead up to the year off, because I was incredibly proud of you for taking that year off. And I know, as I said, that was kind of what led into now you really making sure that you prioritize the running. You'll constantly just take break, even though you do have beers and that sometimes.
Yeah,
you're a lot more in control of it, I think.
Definitely.
And you will still just consciously take breaks all the time.
Yeah.
So what led to that year off?
Yeah. I actually, like, do you know what happened? I sort of was like, it's obviously not working for me. You know, it took me 10 years to work that out, but
hey, better late than fucking
never.
Yeah,
that's it, man.
Yeah, and I guess I just had, I actually sort of worked out like, oh, look, I get to a month. I got to a month. I was like, oh, I actually don't feel too bad now. Like, I still have my down days. And I was like, oh, well, why don't I try for 2 months? And then 2 months became 3 months. 3 months became 4 months. And then I got to 6 months. And I think my goal was to get to like 6 months. And then I was like, well, you know, if I can go through and get up to maybe a year. And then I got to a year. And the first thing I did after was go to a pub. So, you know, I mean, it's crazy. Like, people like, and then I started going to meetings a bit more, like Alcoholics Anonymous. So
you did that after the year off?
I did, and I was told by a few people in the comedy scene, not a few, but a few friends and stuff, saying this is probably like a good place for you to go because they can really help you there. Like that, they understand alcoholism and how alcohol works, and things like that. And I didn't listen to them. I just thought, they call it white knuckling in sobriety. So if you, you white knuckle it without any support. So that's basically what I did a whole year. And then I went into AA like a year or two after, and I started getting like a bit more sponsorship. And then I had one thing like, it's crazy. Like I definitely now, like, I don't write myself off anywhere near to the extent I was doing. Like I can even the other night we went to the comedy and I had one beer, like, you know.
Sounds to me like you've just gained that control over yourself. So not only is it like alcohol or, you know, diaries or whatever it may be, more than anything, you've from doing these AA meetings and from taking that year and from learning these mistakes, you've just gotten that control over yourself, which was what you needed that whole time.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I think if I see someone that's struggling now and stuff, I just let them know, like, it does get better, you know, like you can always, people, you know, it just, it's so isolating when you're feeling like, I don't know if you've ever had a full-on panic attack before, but they isolate you. Like, they make you feel like you're going crazy, and they do make you feel like you've completely lost your mind, basically. And then you're in this, because the flight or fight response kicks in, and your brain is just so wide and it goes nuts, and you just feel like there's no other form of way out of this other than suicide, and it's crazy. It's like absolutely insane.
And is that what was happening after big nights all the time? So you were having a big night and then waking up and then feeling that feeling like all the time?
So in AA they talk about like guilt, shame and remorse, which are the things that happen after you drink, if you're an alcoholic. And also the other one they talk about is they say an alcoholic will end up either, if they don't go to AA, they'll end up in jail, a mental institution, or they end up with death. So it's pretty, like, they are really, like, the other thing about I think it's good to, you know, go to those meetings and stuff, but like for me personally, I need to have a balance in my life. Like, some people,
it's all about balance, man. Definitely.
Do you know what I mean? Like, some people sort of full throttle into it, and they don't have, they get a sponsor, they do the steps, but then that becomes their life. They don't I'm not saying that's a bad way to live or anything, but just for me personally, I can't do that. Yeah.
Well, one of the things that you're doing that a lot of people can't do though is then actually exuding control. Like a lot of people will go, I'm a all or nothing. And, it's part of my issue. It's why I now force myself to I'm currently in a month off alcohol right now.
Yeah.
Because again, I won't drink during the week. But if I've got a reason to drink on the weekend, I fucking drink hard every time. And I'm not as bad at getting blackout, but there was a period in my life where I was literally like getting home, pissing in the corner of the room, pissing all over the fucking clothes, piss in the bed, and just coming home in like unconscious basically to the point that no one could communicate with me and it used to scare my wife and whatever, and I just didn't like that version of myself.
But once again, you've also gained that control because it was a bloody large nuts weekend 2 weekends ago.
Yeah.
And now you've gone like, fuck, I needed to blow that steam out, but now I need to fucking just chill
have a break
a little bit.
And, I messaged our mate Rookie and I said, hey, want to do 30 days off with me as well? And then he's like, yeah, fuck yeah, good reason to do it.
All that stuff helps, yeah.
And just being so much more conscious, and even just before, I used to never drive into gigs in the city because I just always thought, I need to have beers, I'm doing a show. Whereas I drive to nearly every show now because I'm just like, why do I catch a fucking public transport and do all of this fuck around just so that I can have 3 or 4 beers? Because I never really you've never seen me written off at a show. Never. But I just had to have more than the legal amount, so I couldn't drive. I couldn't help myself but have 4, 5, 6, which doesn't write me off anyway. But I was like, I don't need to have fucking 6 beers. I can just drive in, even have 1, and then just drive home, and I'm home way quicker, get a way better night's sleep. All of those kinds of things where I just I've built up such a culture around drinking in my life with my friends and whatever else as well, that I needed to have the reality check of hey, you don't need to fucking have this as such a massive part of your life. And now, when I do have a big night, I'll drink water throughout the whole time because I'm trying to, and I'll be conscious of slowing myself down. Because we love fucking beer pong, and my other mates love drinking games or whatever. And it's just we had this mentality of just writing yourself off all the time. It was always about getting yourself annihilated. It was never about having a few drinks and having a laugh and whatever. It was always no, let's get ourselves fucking destroyed. And it was just I really had to break free from those shackles because it was going to be, again, a really fucking dark path for me if I didn't realize what was happening. And there were some times where, again, the state that I rocked up home in, I'm lucky to fucking get home. There were many times back in the day when I used to go out to town that I don't remember how I got home.
Oh, mate, yeah.
And it's just that's so fucking dangerous.
I was even thinking about it. I was thinking about it the other day, like I said, that 2012 year. I would go out to ECs every weekend. I just have that whole year's just one sort of big blur to me, I just sort of, like I said, I don't know how I got out of it. It's nuts.
Yeah.
And my parents would not know at all either.
Yeah,
they don't know I had a problem or anything.
Yeah.
I wouldn't even want them to listen to this.
What's that?
I said I wouldn't even want them to listen to this, It's just too heavy. And
of course.
Yeah. No, nothing on you guys.
If you're tuning in, Mr. and Mrs. Henry, sorry.
He's a good lad.
He's doing well. He's a fucking beautiful man.
Well, how about now's the perfect time to shift gears?
Let's get into the
Should we hit him up with some questions?
We should hit him up with some questions.
Because there's infinite wisdom, I feel, coming from that side of the table, and I feel like we need to inquisite.
Yes, I think we do. So, without further ado, question number 1, Mr. Wilson, what is your favourite song of all time?
Oh, my God.
That reaction never gets old.
Yeah, I know. Every person's fuck. What do I do?
I like a lot of music. Well, I probably like AC/DC, Thunderstruck.
Yeah,
that's a classic. That's a collab. We haven't had an AC/DC, have we?
We definitely haven't.
So we say to everybody, if you can't give a definitive top 1, you can do a definitive top 3.
Is there a couple of others that come to mind?
Obviously, Lose Yourself.
Yeah,
that's a good song. Yeah. We surprisingly haven't had much Eminem either, have we?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I don't know. I like a lot of. I even like the Beatles.
Yeah.
Like what a
combo those three are.
Yeah.
AC/DC, the Beatles and Eminem.
Imagine that fucking trio.
Imagine that fucking concert.
Shit.
Most of them are dead, but all right, that was good.
That was good. I like that.
That was very different answers than what we're used to.
Yeah.
But I like it all the same.
Should we present him with number 2? This one's actually probably pretty relevant because you're in the comedy scene. Yeah. What is your favorite comedic actor and or stand-up comedian?
Of all time.
Of all time.
There has to be one, doesn't it?
Has to be one this time. Yeah.
Well, no, if you want to give us an actor and a comedian.
No, we don't. No, we don't give that. We don't give that. We only give one for this.
I'd have to say, Jim Carrey. Just
Jim Carrey.
He just inspires me. Like I know a lot of people find him annoying and stuff, and he is a bit annoying.
His emotion. He's just the way he displays emotion is on such another level, man.
Yeah.
Like Ace Ventura, and like obviously, I mean, even if you watch his stand up, it's just ridiculous. Like the Clint Eastwood impression he does.
Yeah, he just carved out something all of his own.
It's like slapstick almost.
Yeah, exactly.
Like one has it. No one will ever do it like that because they're always just going to seem like they're doing a Jim Carrey.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like Rowan Atkinson as well, like Mr. Bean.
Yeah, he's great. Yeah.
Like I love all that English comedy.
Yeah.
You like English comedy.
I love English comedy.
Yeah, right.
Like Sean Locke and stuff.
Oh yeah, the one who passed away.
Yeah,
he is
Steve
hilarious, man. That 9 out of 10 Cats or whatever the hell it is. That show is so funny.
And the political correctness stand up.
Yes.
Have you seen that?
Yeah. That's good.
He's very, very good, isn't he?
Very amazing.
And like obviously I love Australian stand up too. Like Steve Hughes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's great.
Carl Barron.
Very, very good.
Carl Barron. Yeah. He's
Carl Barron. Carl Barron for me, genuinely one of the first memories I have as a kid.
Yeah.
Of like crying laughing.
Yeah, he's go.
And I even remember the joke so much. It's like it's in his second special, the one that like got me to the point of like hyperventilating.
Yeah.
And he's doing the Irish teacher thing, and he's like, and he's doing the whole, are you deaf, Barn? Like, are you, like when he's trying to say, are you deaf, like to Carl?
Yeah.
And then there's the bit where he's like, Carol Barn, come here now. And then he goes, and because he doesn't swear that often.
Yeah.
And then he's like, Carol Barn. And then he's like, man, she better hurry up. And then he goes, and who the fuck is she? It's an all-boys school. And because he didn't swear much, when he said, who the fuck is she? It's an all-boys school.
Yeah.
I just fucking cried.
It gave the impact, didn't it? Because he doesn't
swear, really.
Nah, that's why it was barely just amazing.
Yeah.
And that thong thing he does.
Oh, yeah, that's so good. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's great. He's so great, good. Man. Amazing.
It's like word association. Like, or like, like he plays with words.
He's like, is that, someone points to the clock and goes, is that the time? He's like, nah, it's a hamburger, mate. Take a bite.
Yeah.
That kind of observational shit.
That's one thing about comedy in general that I absolutely adore is the fact that almost every comedian that is on that professional level has their own style, like their own way they present it, and like
Jim Jeffries is like shock value.
Yeah, and then you've got people like
Barker, who just like
Bo Burnham, and stuff like that, who are just so different,
completely different.
Yeah, it's incredible. It really is, man.
And then your Arj Barker, who just like the way he tells stories, and his energy is like makes him. And then he just like, the way he incorporates like really clever shit into that energy. It's not just all energy with no substance. It's like a perfect like nuanced blend of both.
Yeah. And then you got people like Russell Peters who are like crowd interaction on a whole nother level where you can make a full story about this one dude in the crowd and you just losing your mind over it.
Well, and he I guess he was one of the first, like he was a comedian that really, do you know Russell Peters? Have you seen much of his stuff?
Yeah. I reckon he opened for... He hosted and Mickey D was on at that.
Yeah, wow.
Have you seen that video?
No. Yeah, wow.
I think it was Russell Peters.
Yeah. Well, he like when I was blown away, even in 2008, with him getting away with all the accents and everything that he does.
Yeah.
Like, and he really leans into it.
Oh,
and because the crowd is just all those people and they've come there to see him, no one fucking cares.
Yeah.
So it's just like he just gets away with it. And,
and I think it's also because he's not white as well. Because if he was white, these days it might be a bit harder.
Yeah, of course.
You know what I mean?
Because he's obviously, and he takes the piss out of himself as well.
Exactly.
But, he's amazing. All right, question number three, which I always forget.
Look, there's a couple of different ones, but I think we'll go this way. Right, what's the best piece of advice you've ever been given?
Oh, God.
Stop drinking.
Stop drinking.
In caps lock, right?
Best piece of advice. Sorry. I'm trying to think. Sorry.
That's all right. Take your time, man. We got all the time in the world.
If you I don't know, just like, sorry.
It's all right, bro.
It's a hard-hitting question.
Yeah, I don't really know. Like, I've been given so much advice over the years.
Yeah.
Hey, you can go with stop drinking if that was the best piece of advice.
Doesn't have to be that deep and profound.
Well, so is there any truth? I guess that's what I was trying to unpack before. You talked about Kim Lee, and you said, "No, is that just you just made that joke up, or is that actually true that he was?" One of the people
He called me a cunt. Yeah.
Yeah. And that was one of the things that made you go, "Oh fuck!" Like, I don't want to be known as that. I love this scene. And,
yeah. And then then I made a joke about it.
Yeah, and it's a fucking good joke too.
Yeah.
I love it. Like you're stung by a swarm of bees. Yeah.
I need to write more though.
You do need to write
maybe
more.
That's some advice I've got. I need to write more.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Do it.
Yeah. Just be more creative, I guess.
More creative. Yeah. I just I write things down. Like me and Anno.
Yeah,
are really good friends.
Yeah.
And he's a local comedian.
Is he back
actually,
now?
No, he's not local. He's in Germany at the moment. He's been over in Europe for ages. And he's doing some big gigs in London too.
Wow, that's amazing.
But we always write down stuff like just like dumb jokes and stuff, and I've written it down, but I never sometimes I've said like, you know how you were saying before about you write new stuff and then you do it once and then it doesn't land that well and you're like, I won't do that again, but that maybe you do it one other time a few months down the track and then it does do well, but then you're still not really wanting it to keep it because it hasn't landed. I don't know. But yeah.
Yeah. No,
the important thing to do is change it up. So try and find then try and rethink that bit with the same premise. Like I've done that to quite a few of my jokes and I've ended up finding the way that it works better.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's important to spend that time. And like even still, like I've got heaps of gigs coming up now. And I wrote that.
I've seen that one you're doing with bowling.
That joke that I did. One, yeah. I'm doing
three
of those. 3 of those, yeah.
Was it on tour or something?
Yeah, it's like a road show that my boy Clay's put together.
Oh, Clay's doing?
Oh, so it's Clay. So we're doing Swan Reach, Port Pirie, and then Murray Bridge.
Nice.
And then I've got my show that I put together at my second year in a row at the Salisbury Sharks Soccer Club, which I'm really excited for because we're doing a beer pong tournament after the comedy, and I'm like, that's just right so far up my alley. And it was just how good was the show last year, man? It was just amazing,
that was a rip snorter, man. That was a good.
It's a big room, and they just let me basically run it how I want to.
Sick.
So
and it was pretty.
Who's on that, Jay?
No, who's on it this year? I've got Clay's on it. Zach Watson. I've made him stay out of retirement to do a show because his comedy is very I think he's fucking hilarious.
He's like storytelling.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, just more like self-deprecating, fucking just good. Yeah, and like I've known him for quite some time because he used to be the manager of the Colonel Light Hotel. Back when Black Market was like our favorite thing in the world. So we go back a while and he's a great man, old Zach Watson. And then Sophie Savage Soph.
Oh, sick. Yeah, great.
I only got to see her for the first time at the Para Hills show that we did.
Yeah, and she was funny.
And again, she's just got that kind of style.
She's got the confidence too.
Yeah, she was amazing.
Yeah, she's great. I think with her a bit actually.
Yeah, she's really cool. So yeah, that should be a bit of fun in September. But where was I going with this story?
did I interrupt you?
Were we still on the advice?
Oh yeah, I think then we just started talking about the whole Kim Lee thing.
Well, I've got some advice. Shut the fuck up so I can ask him question number 4.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
All right.
Sorry, guys.
No, it's all good. Wait. What's a conspiracy theory that you believe in?
I mean, I don't really believe in it, but maybe.
Interesting. You don't believe in any?
Not like really. There's this one that the moon is a hologram.
Oh,
okay.
I like that one.
Yeah, that's cool.
I don't know, because do you know what I think's funny about that is that they try and. I was trying to think. This is what I was trying to think of a joke with. I heard that the other day about the moon's a hologram, and then trying linking it with that it ended up in the Hollywood basement.
Yeah.
But I don't know. There's something there.
There's something there.
Yeah, something in there.
Oh, you could link that up.
I reckon, I don't really believe it, but I like the 9/11 one.
There's a lot of evidence.
Yeah, what do you guys think on that?
Oh,
bro.
We don't have enough time, my friend.
We've got a good few dedicated episodes because we're really into conspiracy.
Oh, okay,
so we've got a
cool,
good few dedicated episodes about each of these things. Have we done a dedicated 9/11?
9/11, yeah.
Yeah.
You should go back in the catalogue of our early Spotify ones and listen to our.
There's just
they're
so
called,
much
Any of
evidence.
our ones are called Conspiratorium.
Yeah,
where we've just done a full episode talking about like evidence of what seems to be that these things are.
I reckon that's the one.
There's a bit of
That's the one I've actually like seen some documentaries about, but I don't. That's the one like well known to me, but I don't necessarily. But I don't really know if I really believe it. But
Of course.
The other one was I think wasn't there one proved about the CIA testing LSD or something?
That's
Operation MK Ultra.
MK Ultra, yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
That's a true conspiracy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
there was
amazing,
documents that got released of them like so what they were doing, one of the operations, which was like had its own sub name under MK Ultra, it was like Night something or other. I can't remember.
Oh,
We did say it, Midnight.
Yeah.
Midnight Climax.
Yeah.
There you go. Fucking
He's got the memory.
they were getting prostitutes to get people like blokes off the street. And then the prostitutes would bring the guys up to this hotel room, but the hotel room had a double mirror and there was CIA agents behind the mirror. The girl would then put fucking LSD in the dude's drink and like, yeah, let's have a drink, baby. And then he would get like mega dosed with LSD and then the CIA would just watch through the mirror.
Did they get pinned?
Because they were trying to fight. No, because it was like, it got
more
released.
like an experiment, wasn't it?
It came out like in the last 20 years, but it was happening in the 70s.
Yeah.
So it was like, no one can get pinned for it then. It was because they didn't know how, like, they wanted to see what the actual extent of the power of LSD was, whether or not, like, I think they were looking to try and see if it would, if you think about all of the old movies and shit, all they wanted to do was like mind control, right? It was all about how can you make someone tell you secrets
cracking
or whatever.
open the consciousness, essentially.
They thought that LSD may allow, like with so much LSD, that they may be able to just get people to just confess things or whatever it was.
Right.
So
like
I think it was along
that
that thing of like, we want to see how far we can push the human mind.
And also just programming people in general. Fragmenting their consciousness so much to a point where like they can put in these subliminal messages, almost like triggers to these people. And then when those trigger like words or occasions arise, it makes them act in a certain way.
That's what the whole operation was about. So that's not a conspiracy because it's actually fucking declassified documents. So we've got an episode on that as well.
Well, I'm definitely going to listen to that.
Yeah, go back and suss out.
Yeah, the 9/11 one.
See what you think. See if you think, some of that evidence makes sense.
Now, I actually have a new guest.
Go on.
Thanks to Nick from the Better Project. Shout out and go check them out on Instagram. We're going to have him on for an episode in a few weeks, but I ran this past him first.
Yeah.
Because he messaged us, reached out to try and organise us to do a pod. And he asked me a question, and I fucking loved it. I just thought it was such a cool thing out of nowhere. Now I'm asking it all the fucking time. And I asked him if we could add it to our questions for every guest. So you're going to be the first one.
I haven't even heard this, so I don't even
I'm so excited.
And now it's something, so every guest will get asked this as question number 4 or 5 or whatever we fucking decide. Henry, what are 3 things you are grateful for today?
I'm grateful to have a loving family. I'm grateful that I have a loving family and friends and good people around me. I'm grateful I have a job, I've got an income, and I work hard. And I'm grateful to have a good sense of humor.
Yeah, that's awesome, man.
Dude,
I like that.
And since it's our first time doing this, I think it's only fair, man.
We're grateful every single time.
What are you grateful for today? Give us 3 things.
I'm grateful for the people that I'm surrounded by because recently I've been so inspired by the people that I've been close to, and I've been noticing the people around me in life lately have been leveling up in so many ways. Like yourself getting a new job, other people achieving new things. So I'm very grateful for the people in my life. I'm grateful for my health because I've been feeling really good lately about like physically the gym and all that kind of thing. I've got no chronic health problems or anything like that. So I'm very grateful for that. What else would I be grateful for? Far out. Let's see. I'm grateful that today technology has actually been working. So there's been no issues with the technology.
This podcast has fucked us in the ass with technology.
Oh, really?
Like,
haunted.
We always have something go wrong.
I was going to say, it's just like It's been going. I don't even know how long we've been going for now.
Seamless.
We're over an hour, but
An
it's been. Oh, the guests normally never know that. Other than our Zoom ones.
Yeah.
We normally deal with fuckery beforehand, but that's good. That is a good thing to be grateful.
Because I'm actually quite grateful about that. It's the vibes, bro.
Maybe it's the Henry Wilson vibe.
He's bringing that vibe.
For me, I guess it's Bee Swarm Crow.
Yeah.
For me, I'm grateful for this pod, man, because it came at a time. I came out of the most hectic fringe ever and then just had no creative outlet.
Yeah.
We talked about doing it for so long, but it kind of forced us to do it. And now we're 2 years in and I can't imagine me doing anything else every week other than doing this pod. And,
it's fucking COVID that like really kicked it in because it was like, let's do it. He was like, I think it'd be funny and rah. He was like, we've got the equipment and we do this rah. But then it never kind of was like, all right, let's do it. And then the pod came around, like you just said, then you were like, you just gotten off playing fucking 50 shows in 3 weeks, whatever it was. And you were like, oh my God, I have like nothing to get out. And then we were just like, there's so many things we want to touch on, like conspiracy and mental health and music and and then it's just evolved.
Yeah. And now we're like, having all these really cool bands come on. We get to interview comedians and awesome people like yourself. I guess the second thing I'm grateful for, I'll say comedy. Like it's been something that has been now a massive part of my life. I've made so many great friendships out of it as well. And I still get that same every now and then. You mentioned your first ever show, that feeling you get walking off stage.
Yeah.
It's hard to get that same one as the first, but I've gotten some feelings from shows that have come pretty close. And that one I did 2 weeks ago at the Mobry Jets was pretty up there in terms of how I floated off that stage.
That was a sick show.
We ended up having a fucking massive
wild night after.
Because of how good that went. But it's something where, and being able to share that with your friends and whatever else as well, like where you get off and then they tell you, man, like that was a fucking good set, and you get to do the same for them when they do well. Like, there are some gatekeepers in the scene, but there are obviously a lot of really good people as well. So I'm very blessed, and I think last of all, just my family, man. I'm very blessed to have a beautiful wife, and an amazing son, and always something that's amazing to wake up to, come home to, and that motivates me so much to do all of these things like the podcast and so how's that for a fire? I reckon that's a fucking good extra
that's
gesture.
A good one.
So shout out again to
Nick that a lot
from the Better Project, and I'll be sending you this clip and I'm sure that you absolutely love it. But that leads us to our final question, my man.
Final question.
The one that every guest comes here for.
Hit him up.
Would you rather fight a horse-sized duck or 100 duck-sized horses, and why?
A horse-sized duck or 100 horses?
Duck-sized horses.
100 duck-sized, 100 horses. 100 duck-sized horses.
So one big fuck-off duck or 100 little horses.
See, you're giving people content every single time. You give people the subtle content.
Can I ride it?
Can you ride the duck?
Yeah, because it's like a horse.
There's a question.
Yeah, we haven't actually had.
Someone said tame it, but no one's ever said can I ride it.
I don't see why you couldn't.
Yeah, I guess you could.
Yeah, ride it out.
I think
ride it out of the property.
Right into the sunset.
And then smack it in its bum and then it kicks off.
Love it. I like that one. That's a very good answer.
Well, Henry, thank you so much for coming on, man. I know you took a long Uber journey down here. We appreciate you coming on for being really raw and open and honest about your journey.
Getting real with everything.
It makes
I hope it wasn't too heavy or anything.
No, dude, that's what the fucking pod's about.
But I feel like we've balanced it out, and we've given these people a look into who you are, on not only on with your comedy and your work and your life, but also what you've done to improve yourself as a human being, and that's what we try and do here. We just try and basically have real and genuine conversations with people. So appreciate your time,
so much
man.
Having me on, I really appreciate it.
And someone could be listening to this, man, and hear your struggle and go, "Fuck!" That might be the wake up call that they need. The same thing that you had. That wake up call, maybe someone's going to listen to this and go, fuck, there's a lot of what he said that I've actually been feeling and experiencing, and I need to fucking take a long hard look at myself. So that's why it's important to have those kind of conversations, man, because you never know what you're going to spark in other people. Look, keep going on the path that you are, keep doing your exercise, man, keep in control of those urges and the demons that obviously can fucking plague you to go back down that path, and keep working on the comedy, man. You've got such a good fucking energy. I love seeing you at shows. I love watching how passionate you are about the scene and about comedy in general. So yeah, and I'll always, as you've seen, I'll always do what I can to help you out. You'll send me something and I'll tell you if it's shit or not. I'll always promise you I'll be honest. I'll be honest with you. But yeah, keep it up, man. And thank you so much for coming on. We appreciate it.
And we don't do this enough, but make sure, please, melt the subscribe button. Yeah. Melt the like button. Do whatever you need to do to follow along, because there's just going to be more.
Yeah.
Simple as that.
Come find Henry at a show. He does plenty of fucking shows around Adelaide.
Come give me a hug.
Come give him a hug and tell him that he's doing all right. And yeah, thank you so much for listening, guys. We love you. Guys.